Hello, today we are exploring a small rubric, but one that carries immense depth. Anthrax in Kent's Repertory under the chapter Extremities. Often, such rubrics are approached as pathological labels, but if we pause and observe more carefully, we begin to see that Kent is not merely describing disease. He is pointing toward a pattern of vital disturbance expressed through tissue destruction. Our task is not to study pathology alone, but to understand the reaction behind it. Before entering the remedies, we must first learn how to read the rubric itself. Without this, even correct remedies may be misunderstood. So here we see a very small rubrics in chapter Extremities in Kent's Repertory. Anthrax, and it has only three remedies: Anthracinum, Arsenicum album, and Secale cornuatum. This immediately tells us something important. What? That this is not a common or general state. This is a very specific field of expression, a particular type of destructive process. The limitation of remedies increases the responsibility of understanding. One lens we may consider that the lesion is not the beginning, it is the end result. What we observe externally is tissue destruction, but what we must perceive is what kind of vital disturbance produces such destruction. Each of these remedies reaches destruction, but by different inner pathways. Another important discipline. We do not begin with the pathology. We begin with mental state, general modalities, then the pathology confirms. If we reverse this order, we risk prescribing the disease, not the patient. Now we widen the field. Let us not think of anthrax merely as a diagnosis, but as a dynamic process. One way to observe this: there is intense local destruction, but simultaneously there is systemic involvement, toxicity, septic influence, collapse tendency. The local and general are not separate, they are expressions of the same disturbance. Now we observe the direction of pathology. One possibility that there is rapid and aggressive septic spread, another is progressive ulceration, and another dry withering destruction. So already we begin to see different remedy tendencies emerging within the same rubric. Now we enter the remedies, not as names but as states of reaction. So first one is anthracinum. One lens for anthracinum is a state where the organism is overwhelmed by the septic intensity. There is rapid tissue breakdown. The process feels almost unchecked. The individuality of the patient becomes less visible. Continuing to this, This may represent a state where the vital force is nearly submerged. The reaction is no longer well formed. It is diffuse, toxic, overwhelming. One might reflect here, is this a highly individualized state or a state where the individuality is being lost? Next medicine is arsenicum. It's a different field entirely. Arsenicum shows destruction, but with intense awareness, burning pains, restlessness, anxiety. The patient is engaged in the suffering and, importantly, chilliness, desire for warmth. Even in destruction, there is a striving toward order, control, survival. This is not passive, it's reactive. Third medicine is Secale cornuatum. Now we shift again. Secale represents a very different quality. It shows dryness, shriveling, and cold surface. The destruction is present, but without the same reactive intensity as we see in arsenic. Here we may observe a kind of indifference, passive collapse, and very characteristically, desire for cold, even when the body is cold. This contradiction itself becomes a guiding feature for Secale core. Now we bring the remedies into relationship. One possible way to differentiate all these three medicines is arsenic when anxiety is present, Secale core when apathy is present or predominant, and anthracinum when the dullness from toxicity is present. These three very different inner states despite similar pathology. Another lens, arsenic seeks warmth, Secale seeks cold. Anthracinum may not clearly express a strong thermal modality. The septic state dominates here in Anthracinum. Now, observe the nature of collapse. In arsenic, we will see restlessness and struggling. In Secale core, we will observe the passiveness and sinking state of the patient. In Anthracinum, overwhelmed by the toxicity. These are not small differences, they are defining factors for the remedy. If we translate this into observation, it shows a rapid destruction, burning pains, dull, toxic state, desire for cold locally. We begin to form a field, but still confirmation must come from the journals. We return to discipline. Do not prescribe the lesion. Confirm the generals. Respect the thermal state. Let the pathology support, not lead. We close with a simple reflection. We do not prescribe the lesion, we prescribe the reaction. And perhaps the deeper question remains, are we seeing the disease or are we perceiving the patient's response to it? Thank you.